So after you've completed your lesson plan and you've read through your tutor read aloud, we'll just ask you to stay at your computer after your student logs off to complete some tutor notes. This helps us just know what's going on in the session and be able to keep track of your students' progress. So during the session, just keep track of things that your student was doing well, things that they struggled with, and so things that we're going to need to focus on in the next session. And also write down what lesson you completed so we know what lesson to do next time. So this is new, so we just want to make sure that we're supporting everyone this year in learning this new program, learning this new format. So we've just set in place a few things to help you feel a little bit more supported and a little bit more prepared to deliver these sessions. So after your training sessions, you'll be able to join in on office hours, which is just a Zoom hour that your coordinator will have open, and you can join in to ask questions and leave whenever you feel your questions have been answered. And so you'll be able to just, get your answers there and also work through any parts of the lesson that you might need. You'll also, on your first session, just be doing a lesson 0, which is where you'll just take some time to get to know your student, and your student will get to know you before you dive into some of the harder lesson materials. Again, just remember that all of the lesson materials you're going to need for your session will be emailed to you prior to the session from your coordinator. So take some time to review those lesson materials. You'll also have support during your first session where your coordinator will sit in on the entire call and be able to walk through the session with you and support you at any moment if you need or have questions. You'll also be scheduled for a monthly check-in call with your coordinator where they will be able to check in with you about your student. You'll be able to update them on any of your calendar changes, and they'll be able to update you on any of theirs or any other program updates as well. For technology requirements, you're just going to need reliable Wi-Fi because this is an online tutoring program. We'll also need it to be a protected Wi-Fi network, so no public Wi-Fis or public devices used, please. So you'll also need a computer of some sort, so PC, Mac, Chromebook, anything like that has a functioning webcam and a microphone will be perfect for these sessions. You can also use headphones with a microphone if you need. That'll totally work on this platform, and please feel free to use that. Also, just try and choose a private and distraction-free place to conduct these sessions so that we can limit as much outside distractions as possible. Now we'll talk about some volunteer roles and expectations. For us here at Reading Partners, we are holding ourselves to the responsibility of providing training and continual support throughout this new process through coaching, regular check-ins, and office hours. We're also here to provide a structured environment that's conducive to learning. We also serve as mandatory reporters, so if there is anything concerning happening in your sessions, please let your coordinator know so that we can get it addressed immediately. We're here to answer any questions you may have related to the program, so please feel free to reach out if you need some support. We also want to be keeping all of our tutors informed as much as possible on any calendar changes or schedule changes or even any program updates as well. So please be checking your email regularly so we can all stay up to date together. We also are committed to keeping all of our tutor information as well as our student information strictly confidential. So your responsibility as a tutor, there is a tutor code of conduct that we'll ask you to sign. So I'm going to pull out some big points here, but when you receive that document, please look through it fully on your own and then sign the last page if you agree. So our big thing here is that we are here to tutor in the area of literacy, so please stay focused on that as you work with your student. Next, we also ask tutors to be reliable and prepared with consistent attendance. We do understand that things come up, so please just let us know if you do have any scheduled events or if you do wake up sick one day, just let us know so we can adjust schedules as needed. Next, we also ask tutors to be flexible, just as something might come up for us, something might also come up for your student that day, and so we'll just work together with what to do for that session. Next, we also ask tutors to be receptive to coaching and support, as this is a new format, so we'd like to make sure that we can support our tutors as best we can. Next, we also ask our tutors to be culturally responsive and a positive role model for students. Next, we also ask that if you do observe something concerning in your session, please let our members of staff know. So let your coordinator know if there is something that we feel needs to be addressed, and we'll take care of that immediately. Next, again, just if there is something that comes up, make sure you let us know at least 24 hours in advance so that we can adjust schedules as needed. Also, we ask that there are no pictures or sharing of confidential information that happens during the session. So no sharing your phone number, your email address, your Facebook, or anything like that. We'd like to keep confidential information confidential. Next, we'd also ask that there is no interactions with students outside of Reading Partners Connect's tutoring sessions. We also ask all tutors to exercise discretion with your verbal contact with students during sessions. For tutoring expectations during your session, again, we're just going to ask that we limit outside distractions as much as possible. So if there's anything you need to clean up on your background of your computer or your desktop, please feel free to do that before your session. Also, we ask that there's no eating during sessions just because that can also be a distracting factor, so we'd like to limit that as much as possible. And when sharing your screen, just make sure that you're only displaying the Reading Partners Connect slides or Reading Partners Connect materials. We also ask all tutors to dress appropriately for your sessions. Next, for ensuring student safety, we want to make sure that we're not exposing students to inappropriate materials or behaviors. We also don't want to be sending students outside sources or any messages privately in the chats. And all of these sessions are going to be recorded with students' parents' permission, so no outside recording or screenshots or anything like that on the tutor's end, please. We are also sharing our curriculum with you, so we just ask that you respect the copyright and don't distribute or print or send out any of the curriculums as they are copyrighted. We also ask that tutors do not send any external materials or links in the chats to students. So we also want to make sure we give our tutors some tips on how to be able to engage with their students a little bit better, especially in this new way of tutoring in this distance format. So here are just some 4 attributes that you can keep in mind as you work with your student. Firstly, just come with a positive attitude towards diversity, towards learning, and towards your student. And also come with a growth mindset. This will just help keep an encouraging environment as you work together with your student. We also ask our tutors to come willing to learn and prepared to learn as well. So ask help if you need it. We'll make sure that you get the support that you need. And also just be able to challenge your thinking as you go along in this process too. We also ask tutors to remain empathetic as they work with their student. So treat your student the way they want and need to be treated. You can let your students' reactions come first and even use I statements to avoid blame. We also ask that you actively listen to your student. You can avoid jumping into fix-it mode with them, and also just validate your students' feelings just to keep this empathetic environment as well. We also ask our tutors to just remain open-minded, so be open to new ways of teaching or working with your student, and also be open to feedback and coaching for yourself as we go through this. Being open-minded is also just being vulnerable, being humble, being able to refrain your negative thoughts, and even allowing yourself to be wrong. So what's next for you as a tutor? After this, we'll just ask that you complete the tutor code of conduct. So review that entire document, and on the last page, we'll ask you to sign if you agree. Then we'll also ask all our tutors to complete a new background check for the school year. So we'll send you all of this information after your training, so you'll be able to complete it before your second training. At the second training, that's where we will go through the how-tos and demonstrate how to facilitate each portion of this lesson. So we'll also send you the link to sign up for that after this training. Beyond that is when we'll be finalizing our schedules, and we'll be able to get you connected with a coordinator and be able to get you connected with your student beyond that. Next, you'll be prompted to ask some questions on this last section. So just review and think about the materials we went through and try and answer those questions to the best of your ability.